When it came time to choose a commencement speaker for this exercise, I wanted to be sure we chose someone who our graduates could relate to, because they sat where you are now sitting. By bringing back a Blackburn alum, it demonstrates to you what can happen if you keep working hard and the type of life and career success you can have. We have that today in Ed Jaenke. Ed distinguished himself as a student here. He was a member of the men's basketball team. He even lived in Dawes Gym, back when there were some student rooms in there. I bet you didn't know that. He became a member of the work committee and a department head. He even found time to meet his now late wife, Claire Jaenke, during his time here at Blackburn. After Blackburn, he went on to get degrees at the University of Illinois and the University of Missouri and served the United States Navy. He then went to Washington, D.C. to work for Senator Stuart Symington. That led him to a career at the Department of Agriculture, where he rose to become Assistant Secretary. After that, he moved to the Farm Credit Administration, where he became the youngest governor in its history, a record he still holds. He was a ripe old 38 years old, which is helpful to me, Ed, when people ask me if I'm too young to be a college president. I can point to you. During his time at the Farm Credit Administration, he refocused the federal agency on supporting a modern approach to agriculture and a new generation of farmers. He increased loan volume from $10 billion to $26 billion a year, and yes, that's billion with a B, and increased the federal agency's assets from $2 to $3 billion. So he helped more people, and he made that government agency more solvent for the future. I wish we could say that about more of our government servants. He went on then to found his own company, which worked internationally on farm and agriculture issues. He worked literally with hundreds of clients and government agencies over his years of service, and is still credited to this day with helping to create the modern farm and agriculture support system. But all that is a nice resume, but that's not actually what impresses me the most about Ed. We could have picked any number of alums that could come here that have a great resume and did amazing things in their career. I wanted our grads to see that, but I wanted you all to see something more than that. I wanted you to see someone who has led a full, joyful, and passionate life, and that's Ed. Ed is one of the most full-of-life people I have ever met. He has clearly bounded through his life, savoring every opportunity to learn, every challenge he has encountered, and every person he has met. His career, his interests, are the perfect example of what a liberal arts education can do. You can't put him in a box. He has too many things with too many interests and have done too much with his life to be summarized in a few simple words. He has made this world his classroom, and that started here at Blackburn College. I could not be more proud to introduce Mr. Ed Jaenke, your commencement speaker, Blackburn alum, and my friend. Ed?
After that introduction, I reminded of what Hubert Humphrey, former vice president and senator, used to say, "It's fine if you don't breathe it too deeply and inhale it." And that's the thing you got to do. President Comerford and other distinguished guests here at the table, at the head table, or at the head counter, I'm thrilled to be here today to join you all in this super happy day for your lives, your 145th Blackburn reunion, the 145th. And believe it or not, 64 years ago, I sat right out there, scared to death, worried what's going to be next. But it was Blackburn's background that gave me the push and helped me get moving on it, and I have since. Here at Blackburn, I learned some things that have helped me in many, many ways and will help you down the road. As a workhead, I learned to organize, plan, motivate, discipline occasionally the people in the fire department here, the head fireman job. It was great, and I learned a lot doing that, and successfully. Except one night when the fire went out in the faculty house and the faculty screamed bloody murder about it. I was ready to be strung up on one of the trees out here, I think. It was not very much fun. The work program is what makes Blackburn unique. It made it possible for me and you to get an education and get a start in life. Without it, I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. It's a great program. It's 100 years and it's still being modified and improved on, and that's great. It should continue that way. And I want to commend John Comerford for his Affordable Access Award program. Will make it possible for any student, any kid in the state of Illinois to get a degree here without any financial help. That's wonderful, and I salute you for it, sir. Very good. Let me pay a special tribute to another lady who's not here today, who you all know and I know very much, Mim Pride. Mim brought this school, this university, through some very, very difficult times. I served on the board, I know a little bit about it. And I helped her in Washington. She was a great woman, untiring efforts, and you and I are here today to celebrate this school and the accomplishments that she brought about by her untiring work. Without Mim, we wouldn't be here. Thank you, Mim. Thank you, thank you, thank you. While here at Blackburn, I gained something else, as John mentioned, a wife, Claire. And we spent 59 happy years, raised 4 kids. 2 of them are out here today, and did a lot. In fact, there used to be a little concrete bench right out here. I proposed to her at that bench. Can you believe that? More than 64 years ago today. Okay, it was a great, as you can tell, I love Blackburn. Today's a red letter day for each of you graduates, a big day for you. It recognizes and symbolizes you're passing one challenge and getting ready to move on to another one, an unknown one in some cases. But remember, you have an excellent preparation from this school, from this institution. You have the extra benefit and experience that the Blackburn Work Program gives you, and it'll be extremely helpful. I've worked with agriculture businesses and other businesses in the United States for all these years, and boy, when you talk to them about Blackburn, they perk up. Oh, you could get me employees like that? That'd be great. It would be wonderful. Only a very small percentage of the millions of graduates that are coming out of colleges today have that special advantage that you do. Congratulations, and make your best with it. I chose for my speech today a fork in the road. It fit perfectly with my own experiences, and I'll go through some of those. John talked about them a little bit, but go through them again. It started with a fellow from the hill country in Hill City, part of the city in St. Louis, Yogi Berra. He was a great catcher for the New York Yanks and finally the manager of that team. He said, quote, "When you come to a fork in the road, take it." It doesn't make an awful lot of sense sometimes, but it's valid. And if Yogi Berra was too early for some of you here, you younger people, and everybody's younger than I am, let me cite another source for you. You all know of Dr. Seuss. We heard someone speak about it a second ago. He said, "You have brains in your head, you have your feet in your shoes, you can steer any course that you may choose." What a great statement. Particularly for you kids as you're ready to move out into a new life with this degree behind you and a brilliant, wonderful challenge facing you. A fork in the road came to me in September of 1948. I drove up, that building wasn't there. We drove up out there and walked in here, and they had a desk checking us in. I had a big brother by the name of Dr. Lee. He took me around and showed me around. He took me out to my room, and it was something. I lived in the up right-hand corner of Dawes Gym. That balcony up there had 4 rooms in the corners, and a little more, and there were about 20 of us that were out there. There were just so many students here, they didn't have room for them. And so we got that. It was not the fanciest place in the world, I believe you. We had our clothes closet was a rack out in the hallway, in the balcony. We had desks out there. I sat at a desk out there and tried to study and did. We shared one dresser for 2 guys. We had 6 in that room, I'm sorry. And then on the other side, 6 more. It had a big blower in it. It cooled the air in the gym. And when that thing went on, it was like an earthquake. The room just shook. But we got along. We had fun. About 20 of us, 22 that lived out there, became known as the Gym Boys. And we stuck together, we worked together, we played together, we had fun together. It was a great experience. After working on construction for a while here at Blackburn, I asked to work in the heating area because you could have more time to study after you did your work, firing the furnaces and cleaning the edge, or before you clean the edges out. At that time, over here was a big building with a big high chimney. It was a boiler that heated steam for heating these 4 or 5 buildings at that time. My job was to fire that furnace and then clean out the ashes. We had a 6-hour shift at that time, and you could study in between time if you wanted to, and most of us needed to. I didn't as much as I should have, I'm afraid, but I did some. And next year I was elected work head by fellow students, which made me very proud, because when your fellow students select you to be their boss, that's a special tribute. I learned a lot. I learned an awful lot that I came back to use day after day, year after year in my career. I learned how to deal with people, how to organize things, how to discipline when necessary. And your job was to fill up the boiler there and then clean the ashes out. And everything was fine, as I said, and we had a good experience there. Let me give you a fork in the road when I graduated from Blackburn, shortly after sitting out there like you are now. The Korean War was just underway, and anyone who was physically fit was expected to serve for 2 years in that war. Other plans had to be deferred. Your life plans, your schooling, whatever, had to be deferred because of that. I had to go up to the University of Illinois because I wanted to major in agriculture. And I had a hard time. My draft board needed me. And they kept after me. Come on, you got to come in, come in. Why can't you be here? And I explained. Finally, as a result of making almost straight A's at the University of Illinois, that convinced them to let me alone until I graduated. I did have to take the affirmative tests in St. Louis and Champaign and Chicago in order to get to it, but I made it. And I finished the University of Illinois as a result. Immediately after that, in fact, the Sunday after graduation,